Hello, my Built for 1000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Watcher. This one here is titled, Are You Scared of Being Home Alone? It's not a very long one, and I do apologize for that, but it's the next one in the series, and a lot of you like it. I like it. I enjoy the tales by the campfire type shit. You know what I mean? So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead. Turn them lights down low. Put on something comfy, cup with someone special. Let's get spooked. Oh, yeah.
You arrive home after work. You're alone. And something is out of place. Perhaps a window open that you were sure you closed. Or maybe a smell that doesn't belong. Most of the time, it's merely an indicator of the nature of chaos and nothing more. But in today's story, whether or not the narrator takes heed of that little coincidence may make the ultimate difference.
That does suck. That does suck thinking that it's like, no, I know I closed that. I'm bad about doing stuff like that. The old lady's bad about doing stuff like that. We'll set something down and you'll swear but down you've never even been in that room. I ain't been in that room at all today. How the fuck's it in there? I don't ever remember going in there. Why is it there? We got ghostesses. We got to house the ghostesses. That's the only thing that I can think of that would explain any of the bullshit.
I'm Ryan Bergara, and this is Are You Scared? A show where I tell my friend Shane Madej the internet's scariest stories that may or may not be true. Now, I have not read this story before, and neither has Shane. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's see if we can make it until the end. Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin?
A few years ago, I was renting a house in Northern California. The neighborhood was just outside the suburbs. It seemed like the perfect balance of having space and having nice neighbors close enough not to feel isolated. The area had no street lights, so it was very dark at night, especially if there were clouds blocking the moonlight. It didn't bother me though. It made my little house feel even more quaint on dark nights. I got home from work one day in midwinter. It was a cloudy night, so pulling up to my house, I saw only what my headlights and front porch light illuminated. When I got out of my car, I caught a whiff of cigarette smoke. That was odd, as I had never smelled that before around that house.
That's an indicator, bro.
I didn't see anyone nearby, so I ignored it and went inside.
No, because cigarette smoke, it kind of just hangs around for a while, bro. Like, that's one thing that sucks about going... I don't smoke cigarettes. I generally... The smell don't bother me. Like, if someone's standing next to me smoking a cigarette, it don't bother me. Like, as long as they're not blowing into my face, I don't give two shits, you know what I mean? But it's like that old, stale, like walking into the back end of a bar at like 2 in the afternoon after everyone's gone. It's just like, huh. Can't stand it. It's awful. But that would have been a red flag. I'd been out there looking for cigarette butts, all kinds of shit. Fuck that.
I had just got off a shift with a few hours of overtime, so I felt pretty tired. Even though it wasn't even 7 yet, I decided to take a shower and call it a night.
I find it very romantic, the idea of living alone in the woods or in a very secluded area, but it didn't occur to me how terrifying little tiny details like that could be.
In this seclusion, is the presence of cigarette smoke enough to give you pause and maybe even alarm?
I'm locking my doors, and that's probably the end of it, yeah.
I lock my door anyway. You should always lock your doors. If you don't lock your doors, I don't know what you're doing. This is not sponsored by Schleg, in which you could stop them.
Sweet lock brand ref. You had that one ready to go.
But if we were sponsored by Schleg, this would be a perfect part.
Come on, Schleg.
I just like saying Schleg.
We can hold them hostage
very
and say,
satisfying.
like, unless you sponsor this show, we'll continue to say that Schleg locks do not work.
We're gonna shit all over their catchphrase. We're gonna say, let them in with a Schleg.
You know their catchphrase, too?
Their catchphrase is, stop them with a Schleg. You don't remember those commercials?
No, nobody remembers Schleg commercials.
Anyways, he smells the cigarette smoke, he's alarmed, but he goes to sleep because it's been a long night. And that's where we are.
Now, okay. Where I live, not many people smoke. Like, I can walk outside at any given time and not smell cigarette smoke, like, at all. There are those times where someone will go down the road and throw a cigarette out and you kind of faintly smell it, like ever so tenderly, like poof, like a gnat fart in your nose. But if I smelt it around my house, I got cause for concern, because that means somebody had sat out there and smoked a cigarette for a second at my house while I'm not there. I'm a paranoid motherfucker, y'all. Like, I am. I can't help it. I'm too pretty.
I woke up sometime later, sure that I had heard a noise inside my house. I wasn't worried right away because my friend would sometimes stop by to use my shower after work on his way to his night classes. I even gave him a spare key so he could stop by even if I wasn't home. He would always text me to let me know beforehand though, and I hadn't heard my phone go off. I reached over to my bedside table and picked up my cell phone to see if my friend had sent me a text. The bright light from my phone's screen and number pad blinded me. These were the days before the phone had a light sensor that would dim the screen in the dark, and this particular phone was so bright I could use it as a flashlight. Through squinted eyes, I could make out that it was 9-something, but I couldn't tell if I had an unread text or not. I set my phone aside and called out my friend's name. There were a couple of seconds of silence before I heard loud footfalls as someone started running through the bottom floor of my house. I leapt out of bed and ran to the closet. They were already up the stairs by the time I had opened the door and stepped inside. Jesus Christ.
Escalating fairly quickly here.
Yeah, that went from,
Yeah.
oh man, this screen is so bright to, holy shit, I'm about to be murdered.
I always wonder about that though, if you were put in that kind of situation.
I'm tangoing, baby. I have a katana by my bedside, so if anybody wants to break into the Bergara residence, they better have a remedy for steel, because it's going right through their sternum.
And I have several Burt's Bees chapsticks on my nightstand that I will throw at you very hard.
Anyways, the invader's up the stairs by the time our guy gets into the closet. That house had 3 rooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms on either side of the hallway, the one I was in and a spare, and a bathroom at the end. The bedroom doors were both closed, but the bathroom door was cracked open. I heard whoever was in my house thunder down the hallway past my door and into the bathroom. Thank God he did. That gave me enough time to open the attic access in the ceiling of my closet and hoist myself up. I had just started to lift myself up when the person ran back out of the bathroom. My feet were barely inside of the attic when my bedroom door burst open. I heard footsteps run into my room and stop. When they didn't see me in that room, they ran back to the hallway and into the other room, which just had boxes stacked in a corner, some weights, and a table where I painted my miniature models. I guess they decided that if someone were hiding, it would be in the bedroom because they charged back into my room and turned on the light. A moment later, the closet door was ripped open. I was crouched in my attic just a foot or so away from the access, so I could try to stop them if they started to climb up. Oh man, if this is me,
Yeah, what do you do?
Hold up. We have heard this. Wasn't it a Mr. Ballin video? One woman's night of terror? But it wasn't a dude, it was a lady in that story. Like, the lady pretty much kind of the same thing and heard something, ran to the closet, got up into the little thing, end up calling the police, like came out of the closet to get the phone or something. Like, I'm pretty sure we heard this, just the genitalia has been changed to protect their identity.
I'm in the attic.
You got your
have my
katana ready?
katana. I'm turning that guy into a fucking corn dog.
And he'd go,
From my vantage point,
T-pose.
all I could see was from about their knee down. They were wearing dirty blue jeans with frayed cuffs and worn work boots. After a few seconds of looking in the closet, they stepped away and I heard a loud crash come from my room, followed by a scream of frustration and anger. That scream was the most unnerving part of the incident for me. It reminded me far too much of my stepfather, who would scream in a similar way when he lost his temper. He would eventually be put in a mental hospital for severe mental disorders that resulted in erratic and violent tendencies. The man in my house ran back down the stairs. I heard crashes and clatters as things were thrown around and furniture was knocked over. I stayed crouched in the attic. I had left my cell phone when I ran for the closet, and I wasn't certain I could climb down without him hearing. After some time, the noises stopped. I started counting slowly. When I reached 1,000, I decided it was safe enough to climb down and call the police. Whew, man, this is why we gotta get a chip implanted in our head.
It was
I
just
think
a
it'd
lady
be good
in
for
the
everybody.
We could just call people from, like, I could just blink twice.
Seriously. If man, I need a pad and a pen, a paper or something so I can write this shit down so I remember. Be like watcher, like some whatever into put this shit up. I'm pretty sure Mr. Bones, woman's night of terror, one night of fear, one woman's night of terror or fear or something. Yeah.
And now I'm calling my grandma.
That's the thing. Everyone is always like, oh, the government's gonna put chips in you, and then what? I'd be like, chip me up, bro.
Yeah, and then I'm walking out of my house, hands-free, using my forehead as Apple Pay. It's great.
Yeah, I'm just imagining everyone at the store doing Apple Pay and then you just dunking your head.
Excuse me, let me purchase these sun chips. The first thing I noticed when I exited the closet was the intruder had flipped my bed over. I assume in an attempt to find me. That was the loud noise I had heard after he stepped away from the closet. I couldn't find my cell phone, so I went to the landline by the bed and called the police. I waited in my room until I heard them call out from downstairs. The first floor was a mess, but I had expected that. Chairs had been knocked over, the sofa had been flipped. All the books and pictures and knickknacks I had on my shelves were strewn across the floor. The cupboards in the kitchen had been opened, and all the boxed and canned foods had been thrown to the ground. As far as I could tell though, the only thing missing was a single knife out of the wooden block in my kitchen.
This guy didn't bring his own knife?
That's what I was just thinking.
What are you doing?
This could be like a trophy thing though. We've covered a lot of serial killer cases where people like the Axeman, he used people's axes against them.
I'm pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, hilarious.
I mean, it's funny, yeah.
The police checked the house from top to bottom. They found that the side door had been forced open by something like a crowbar. They also found a few cigarette butts along my fence line, along with some foil and an empty pen tube, which the police said people often use to smoke meth. So they think he had been watching my house for a while. I realized that he must have been out there smoking a cigarette when I got home. They collected up the evidence and told me I should stay with family or friends that night and get that door fixed as soon as possible. I opted to just not sleep. I moved a shelf over to block the broken door and spent the next couple hours cleaning things up. I would often go to the window with a flashlight and shine it along the fence line where the police found the cigarette butts and foil, but I didn't see anything. The next day, I called to have the door fixed and motion lights installed at the back and sides of the house. I ran a phone cable up into the attic and added a landline. I never wanted to be stuck up there without a phone again. Okay.
Taking some good precautions. I like his hustle. Good response.
I also can't believe that happening. This guy's like, no, I'm not gonna go stay with family and friends. I'm just gonna stay here and patrol. That's crazy to me. I would be at the police station in like one of those tinfoil blankets, like,
Do you have any cookies?
A rescue victim, that's awful, bro.
One more precaution I took was practicing getting out of my bed, going to my closet, and climbing into the attic as quickly and quietly as possible. I even kept at it when I moved, except now I go to a crawl space at the back of the closet instead of the attic. I tried not to think about what would have happened if I had been a bit slower getting to the attic, or if he hadn't gone into the bathroom at the end of the hall first. Nothing else happened at that house though. I lived there another 3 years without incident. So, are you scared?
No, because I've heard this.
Yeah, you know, a little bit. It's a scary thing to think about. Nobody wants to be in that situation, so sure.
Let's see if this is a real story or not. Just let me check on that. And according to our producers, this one, no surprise here, is a real story. Jesus Christ.
It's a lot. That's a lot.
This was submitted to the Let's Not Meet subreddit on Reddit, which is a subreddit where people talk about real life horrifying stories, by the username StaringVoid.
That makes me sad. Makes me sad to hear about this person's trauma.
It seems like this guy is a normal person, and for whatever reason, he just had a guy come and try and kill him because that person felt like it. And I think that, to me, is the scariest part
It was the
of
math.
human nature. And
Agreed.
It will,
The math
it will
turned
keep
him
me up
into a
at night.
dragon.
Yeah. It's not pleasant. It's not
And he
fun.
had to
but,
kill it.
I'm glad he made it out okay. And word to the wise, swing by the optometrist. Get those peepers checked out. Because if you can't tell what time it is by looking at your phone, then I'm a little concerned for you, my dude. So lock your doors, folks. Remember,
Lock your
those
doors.
doors.
Really, lock your doors. Seriously, lock your doors.
Lock those doors.
Get an alarm system. And if you want to stop them, you stop them with a schlag.
We'll see you next time.
Or a katana. All right, I really enjoyed today's story. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I did, go down there, hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want, go on over, smack that subscribe button, become part of the Bill for 1000 Nation. We do some crazy shit here, bro. If you want to know when that crazy shit happens, ding that bell. It might work for you. It might not. But if it does, you know what you could do? Leave a thumbs up, jump in on the live chat, say hey, what's up, dip. That's all I ask. You don't have to do no more than that. Just let me know you know I know, you know? And if you really want to do something special, you can go down, links in the description, check out the store. I got some amazing merch. Can't tell me otherwise unless you check it out for yourself. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Wow. That was like... So, this probably just happens a lot to people. Like, people get just strung out on meth, break into random houses, and just do stupid shit. Fuck that, man. No. How do you fight against meth heads, bro? They don't make a deterrent for that. Well, they do, but bullets are expensive, man.